It was a quiet night over New York, the kind of night where everything seems routine, predictable, safe. But on March 22nd, 2026, that illusion was about to shatter. At exactly 10:12 p.m., a regional jet operating as Air Canada Express Flight 8646 lifted off from Montreal. The aircraft, a Bombardier CRJ-900, was on a short international hop to LaGuardia Airport in New York. A normal flight, just over an hour in the air. Nothing unusual. Passengers settled into their seats, some dozing off, some scrolling through their phones, others simply waiting to reach home. Inside the cockpit, the pilots followed standard procedures. Calm, focused, experienced. Everything was under control. But miles ahead at LaGuardia Airport, something else was unfolding. At around 11:18 p.m., another aircraft, United Airlines Flight 2384, was facing trouble. The crew had noticed a strange smell inside the cabin. Warning lights had flashed. Twice, they had to abort takeoff. It wasn't a small issue. The situation quickly escalated into an emergency. Fire trucks and emergency response teams were rushed onto the airfield. The airport suddenly became a high-pressure zone. Controllers had to manage multiple things at once: an emergency aircraft, ground vehicles, and incoming flights. And among those incoming flights was Flight 8646, now descending toward runway 4. From the cockpit of Flight 8646, everything still looked normal. The runway light stretched out ahead, like a glowing path in the darkness. Clearance to land had already been given. For the pilots, it was just another landing. But in the control tower, things were getting complicated. The same controller was handling multiple responsibilities, both ground traffic and air traffic. The emergency with the United flight demanded attention. Fire crews needed instructions. Aircraft needed coordination. And then came the moment that would change everything. At 11:37 p.m., the controller cleared a fire truck, identified as Truck 1, to cross runway 4. Just seconds later, realization hit. Flight 8646 was already on final approach. The aircraft was seconds away from touchdown. Panic entered the controller's voice. Stop, stop, stop. Repeated calls echoed over the radio. Urgent. Desperate, but it was too late. At 11:38 p.m., in the darkness of the runway, two paths crossed. The aircraft touched down, moving at high speed. And then, a massive impact. The nose of the plane slammed into the fire truck with tremendous force. The sound was deafening. Metal crushed against metal. Sparks, debris, chaos. Passengers inside the aircraft were thrown forward violently. Some hit their seats, others the cabin walls. Luggage flew. Screams filled the air. The cockpit took the full force of the collision. It was completely destroyed. The pilots, who had been guiding the aircraft safely just seconds before, did not survive. But inside the cabin, something remarkable happened. Despite the shock, despite the injuries, people began helping each other. Passengers described how the aircraft braked suddenly just before impact. That split-second reaction, those final reflexes from the pilots, likely saved many lives. In the chaos, emergency exits were opened. People climbed out onto the wing. Others helped the injured move. One flight attendant, seated just behind the cockpit, was thrown out of the aircraft during the crash. Miraculously, she survived. Outside, the fire truck had flipped over from the force of the collision. Its crew was injured, but alive. Within minutes, emergency teams flooded the runway. Sirens screamed across the airport. Firefighters, police, paramedics, all rushing to contain the disaster. The aircraft came to rest tilted upward, its front completely destroyed. Smoke lingered in the cold night air. Dozens of passengers and crew were injured. Many were rushed to nearby hospitals. Some had head injuries, others fractures, but many survived against the odds. Back in the control tower, silence, then a voice. I messed up. Those 3 words, captured on radio recordings, revealed the weight of what had just happened. This was not a mechanical failure, not bad weather, not even pilot error. It was a breakdown in coordination, in a moment of overwhelming pressure. A single misjudgment in a system that depends on perfect timing.